So how is Claire McCaskill going to reconcile this? Because remember, she was one of the biggest supporters of Obamacare. How do you reconcile that? Well, now she's up for re-election, and this is when the GOP needs to move. It could be a crowded primary on the Republican side. There's a lot of rumors about who is or who is not going to enter the race. But on the 4th of July, Austin Petersen, who's been on the show before, announced his candidacy for the Republican nomination for Senate to challenge Claire McCaskill. And a lot of people remember Peterson. He challenged Gary Johnson, former Governor Gary Johnson, for the Libertarian Party nomination. But he wrote a letter recently saying goodbye to the Republican or to the Libertarian Party, and he was going to be running as a Republican. Austin Petersen joins us right now on the phone. Welcome back to the program. Always good to have you. What happened? You left the Libertarian Party and you're running as a Republican. Why is that?
Well, I'm a man of the people, Dana. I spent two months and made 4,000 phone calls personally to my supporters saying, what should I do? And they said they wanted me to run. And 98% or more of them said run as a Republican because they want Claire McCaskill gone as bad as I do. So they're the people who are investing their time, their money, and their energy and their hopes and dreams into these campaigns. I think I ought to listen to them.
Yeah, one of the things that you had mentioned in your letter, too, was grassroots. You said, without the grassroots, I'm incapable of action on the field. And grassroots has always been instrumental, but in certain states, particularly in the state of Missouri. I mean, honestly, I think that Claire McCaskill seems to be her most vulnerable now. And I hear from even, Austin, hardcore Democrats, like people who, hate to admit it, and my family who are Democrats, who maybe supported McCaskill before, but they're really disillusioned, particularly after everything that they've seen in the past 8 years. How are you looking to connect with those voters?
Well, she voted against Neil Gorsuch. That was obviously very unpopular. Missouri is very much in favor of a constitutionalist like that, taking the position that he did. She was Hillary Clinton's first endorser on Capitol Hill way back in 2013. She was dishonest about the fact that she met with a Russian ambassador. So straight down the line, she's not aligned with Missouri values. She's been terrible on gun rights. And you know how I am about guns. I mean, I'm very hardcore on the Second Amendment, and she voted to let the UN control our guns. She voted to limit the amount of rounds and magazines. I mean, that is so out of touch with Missouri voters it isn't even funny. She tries to play the moderate, but she is totally captured by her progressive base, and I think that will play against her.
Right, exactly. And, of course, I can pretty much gauge how she would vote on national reciprocity, which could be coming up within the next 2 years. And I think that's going to be the one and only time we have to really get national reciprocity. And I think we all know how she would vote on it. I would imagine that you're supportive of national reciprocity.
I am. I mean, I very much consider myself a federalist, but the way that the Supreme Court has ruled on this lately is that it being an individual right to bear arms, it means that the Second Amendment is legally incorporated into the states, meaning that not the states nor the federal government can take away our Second Amendment rights. And I mean, the Second Amendment defends all of the others. So yes, I would be supportive of such legislation, because my question always is, does it advance liberty? And then is it constitutional, of course? And that's the two big questions that I ask. So yes, I would be in favor of such legislation.
Yeah, national reciprocity, huge thing. Because I mean, when you drive, you can drive a car. I go from Texas to Missouri, Missouri back to Texas, and my driver's license doesn't end at the state line. Why should my right to bear arms end at the state line? Your right to free speech doesn't end at the state line. It's like that's the only right that it changes state by state by state. And Austin, we've seen, for instance, Shanine Allen in New Jersey, law-abiding woman, single mom of three, lived in Pennsylvania, was driving through New Jersey, routine, minuscule traffic stop, and she gets busted because she's a law-abiding gun owner. She informs, as she was taught to do in her concealed carry class, and they throw her in jail. They're going to make an example out of her. They were going to throw the book at her. She had to get a pardon in order to be released, which is insane. And it seems like it's all purposefully different to be prohibitive in terms of carry, and that has to stop. And I'm glad to hear that you support it. We know McCaskill doesn't.
Right, of course. And remember this, the power to tax is the power to destroy. Why are we paying $200 to put a suppressor on the end of our AR-15? I mean, there's also legislation that has come out called the Hearing Protection Act, which would allow us to do what we should be able to do, which is to allow us to put a suppressor on the end of our rifles. I mean, that should be our right. I mean, what role does the government have to play here? And
it doesn't make it silent. Yeah, they always say that, it makes there's silencers. It lowers it by, 30 decibels? If a jackhammer isn't quiet, this is about the same volume as decibels as a jackhammer. I mean, these people need to actually be familiar with these terms on this. I want to get your thoughts, too, because there's a big healthcare battle, of course, underway right now, where a lot of people, Austin, I get worried about what's going to happen in 218, and I think so much hinges right now on what the Senate does with healthcare. Where do you stand on this whole issue? How do you feel about, we're having a fight just for a motion to proceed with to maybe take action on a couple of other bills? Where do you stand on all this?
Well, think about this, the absolute blatant hypocrisy of the Democrats who say, oh my gosh, we're going to take health care away from millions of people that we forced them to buy, right? So they're total hypocrites on this one. I think they should do what they campaigned on. They promised they would repeal Obamacare. I mean, you and me, we were way back in the Tea Party days, 2008, 2009, 2010, and that was the big issue. We were going to stop Obama. We were going to stop Obamacare. And now we're these Republicans. We've got two Republicans, Murkowski and Capito, who voted to get rid of it when they had no power to do so, and now they've turned on us. So, I mean, in some ways, Congress is making my job easier because I can just campaign against Congress. They have historic low approval ratings, and I'm saying we want a full repeal. We want competition. We want what Rand Paul wants, right? That guy's the doctor. Why aren't more people listening to him? The price of eye surgery, which Rand Paul performs, has gone down. Competition has gone up. Well, insurance doesn't cover it because now there's competition in the marketplace. We need to be able to buy insurance across state lines. We need to stop the consolidation by stopping subsidizing these insurance companies, because you want to talk about the redistribution of wealth. It's not happening from the top down. The redistribution of wealth is coming from the bottom up. That's what this is. Obamacare is a giveaway to big pharmaceutical companies, to the big insurance companies. It's a bailout for them. And who gets screwed? People like me. I was paying $91 a month for my health insurance. Now I'm paying $411. So in some sense, Dana, I'm running for office in self-defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. Exactly. And this repeal bill, the fix that they ended up passing through the House and the fix that McConnell was talking about in the Senate, people didn't vote for Republicans for a fix. And that's kind of part of the frustration. They voted for Republicans because Republicans promised to meddle in their lives less than Democrats would. And we haven't really seen a whole heck of a lot of that.
Right. Every election is an advance auction on stolen goods, and it's just a matter of who's going to get to divvy it out. Yeah, that's just not the message that I'm campaigning on. I think that the true concept of republicanism is decentralization, limited government, constitutionalism, the ideas of individualism, and I don't hear anybody campaigning on that. That's why I'm running again, because I want to remind the American people about our traditions, our conservative roots of limited government. And when it comes to health care, when it comes to the Second Amendment, when it comes to all the Bill of Rights, I am running on a pure, conservative, libertarian program. And I think it's time for us to get back to the old Tea Party days. We need to start building the coalitions again. You know what's amazing, though, Dana? Look at Donald Trump. Now, you may have been skeptical of Donald Trump. I may have been skeptical of Donald Trump. But give him credit where it's due. The guy is calling for a full repeal. So I got to say, hey, good for you, Donald Trump. Give the man what he wants, that we should repeal this monstrosity. And then let's talk about tax reform. Let's talk about cutting rates, cutting spending. And then we can start talking about some more issues beyond that, which, you can find out on my website, which is austinpetersen.com. But I'm really grateful to chat with you, Dana, because you're one of the last freedom fighters left out there. So I appreciate this opportunity.
Well, I appreciate you being so outspoken and your voice out there. Before I let you go, we know, being in my home state of Missouri, I've been in Texas for the last couple of years, get back to Missouri as often as I can. I know how bloody the primaries can be. And it seems almost, sometimes I feel like the Republicans try to kneecap their own people before handing the victor over to Democrats. They seem to do Democrats' work for them during the primary. We keep hearing that it might be a crowded primary. Some people seem kind of hesitant to enter. How are you going to differentiate yourself from any, because I hear some other names that are floating out there. How are you going to differentiate yourself from these other individuals? And are you ready? Because even though we dislike Claire McCaskill politically, Although she did yell at me, so I kind of think we may not be best friends personally. She screamed at me once. How are you also going to handle her and I don't want you to give up your cards, but she's gonna come at you guns blazing. How are you? Yeah. Give me your thoughts on particularly the upcoming primary. How are you going to differentiate yourself?
Yeah. Well, I'm a very different kind of Republican, as you well know. I think that the problems that we have are that we aren't able to capture a lot of the independent minds, a lot of the independent voices, because more people are independent than are registered with the two parties. So I think that in my background in third-party politics, that my fully transparent style, that what I believe in, agree or disagree, I think that will be attractive to people who are looking for someone who's not part of the machine, who's not part of the establishment. And so I honestly think I can get some Democrat votes, too, because I'm talking about things like criminal justice reform, which Claire McCaskill is not even good at. She's been horrible on that issue. And, we had the problem with the riots in Ferguson. Well, that is a direct result of the bloody, failed prohibitionist war on our own people that has contributed to the tension between our inner cities and the police. That is an issue that Claire McCaskill is not going to be ready for me on, because I'm going to come at her. I'm going to eat into her base. The college students on college campuses are coming out, and they're showing up to my volunteer events, and they're saying, we don't like Claire McCaskill either. You're the only Republican who is championing the issues that we care about. So there's a cost to Claire McCaskill for painting herself as a moderate, because she can't even hold on to her base. So I will get all the Republican votes. I will get the independent votes. I will get all the libertarian votes. And I'm going to get some Democratic votes as well. I think I'm the candidate to beat her because I'm a different kind of Republican, and she will not be able to fight me because she will lose her base, and I will sail to victory. The primary will be the challenge, but if the Republicans want somebody who can beat Claire, I mean, they come to my events, the local Republicans, they say, Austin, I don't agree with you on everything, but you check off a lot of boxes for a lot of different people. And, I hated that argument when I was running as a libertarian. They said, well, we want someone who can win. Well, now the Republicans are coming out and they're saying, Austin, you're someone who can win. So I hope that I can convince some people to come on board, and that I'm the candidate to beat her, because, again, we need a different kind of Republican. We need to break up the machine, someone who's not a career politician, someone who's fed up with business as usual. That's what I offer to the citizens of Missouri and to the people of the United States as your next senator from Missouri.
There you go. Austin Petersen. Always good to talk with you, folks. You can find him at austinpetersen.com or AP4 Liberty on Twitter. Austin, always good to talk with you. We'll talk again soon. Got a long journey ahead.
Thank you.
Take care so much.
You.